Hello and welcome back to Tony Northeastern, and for the second instalment of building the colliery here. I've just gone through some of the comments. I've had some great comments on the first video. A couple of you guys, Jeff Hurst and Portobello Junction, suggested I move the office closer to the bridge, which I have done so. I think the intent was to have it as close to the bridge, but yep, thanks for the reminder, guys. Cheers, thank you for that. And John Cass suggested I should have a ventilation house somewhere in this area. Because it's a small area, I might incorporate it into the building that's going to be attached to the actual shaft itself. But yep, thank you for that. I might be able to incorporate it in somewhere. But yeah, so for the second part, I'm not sure I'm finished with the actual pit head itself. You see the little guy in front of you here, so I'm thinking about adding some mesh gates here, do away with this and put in a second set of gates in the top there, and maybe some sort of conveyor system which will bring the coal out so it can be loaded straight onto the trucks on this rail here. So that's what I'm intending to do now, is to alter this face here, although you might not see it when it's all built. Okay, getting back to what we're going to be doing here. So here's our little figure again. So I'm just going to mark out the height, which is just above there. So just above there. So what we'll do now, we'll take this off, we'll lose this. We don't need this on here anymore. Should just come off like so. Right, so now we've got a rough idea of the height, so I'll glue another piece of card in there and cut away another open section just about there. So we'll cut out another open section there. Hopefully my scalpel will be sharp enough to do this. So, okay, after a little bit of a rethink, I need to find out the height of the second floor, because if I cut out here, it's going to be too low. So luckily for me, I haven't cut it out completely. So I need to mark up roughly about there. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line across there now, and that's where the second floor will be. Right, so I'll measure the height of this opening, which is roughly about 32 millimeters, and move it up to here. So it's just roughly underneath here. So it's a good job I spotted that before I had cut the second aperture out without thinking about it. Okay, I have cut out the the first floor aperture ready. So all I've got to do now is put a cross member in there and there, and get some brick sheet to go around the edges, and maybe put a beam in across there as well, and there. So what I'll do is I'll take these old ones off, which should just strip off, and replace them with new. Okay, I've added new framework around the two doors, if you like. So now it's just a case of painting these before I add the brickwork. The brickwork will go in this area and down the two sides. Thing is, doing all this detail and you might not even see it, but I know it's there. So I'm just going to paint this area now, so that when the brick sheets go in, I don't have to paint around the brick. Does that make sense? Right, while I'm waiting for the paint to dry, I'm going to make the gates up. A while back made a gasometer, so I'm going to use these bits of plastic to make the gates instead of using mesh. So I might as well do that while I wait. So I just got to cut these out. One for the top, one for the bottom. What I'll do is I'll trim these to size and just glue them in there, top and bottom. I might even super glue a little bit of mesh on the back. Right, I have made up some gates now using the fine mesh and those off bits that were left over from the gasometer, and they look quite effective. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to paint these yellow and then glue them into the openings of the mine shaft. So, see you in a bit. Okay, I've now added the gates and finished off the brickwork, and that has transformed the pit head yet again. I haven't done anything with that yet because there's an LED going to go through there, and hopefully it'll light up at least the inside of the actual lift itself. But yep, I'm pleased with that. Now I can concentrate on the building which is going to go alongside it, which is this one. This is going to be cut out across here. I'm going to lose the roof, lose these doors, don't need them, and I'm just going to have a quick recce and see how much I've got to cut out. Okay, I'm going to remove the handrail. The roofs, I don't know how tough that is. This is what you call a smash and grab. Okay, this is what we got inside. Nice big space, and I like the way there's a floor in there already, because that's ideal, because that'll give me a height to work from. So this section we're going to keep intact as best as we can anyway, and this is where we're going to cut out to allow it to be glued to the template. So I've got to be careful here, because I want to try and keep this if I can, and just cut through there, move that tab across there. I'm going to put some new doors and windows in here, they can be removed. I've got a blank template on this side, so I can add as much windows as I want to. Okay, right, I have cut out where the pit head's gonna go. I've offered it up like so, and now you can see the basic shape. Right, this is an overhead view of the actual coal mine itself, and if you look down on the bottom here, this is where the office was going to go. But I've had a little thought now, as usual as you go along. This apex side that was cut out of this section here, I'm going to extend the mine a little bit this way, as long as I don't encroach that way too much. It should still fit in the area, and I think it'll make the building look more interesting. So I'm going to utilize this piece. Obviously I'm going to have to extend the base a little bit to take the extra width. So I think that would be a good idea. So as you can see inside, there's still a lot of work to do in there, not too much mind. Okay, back to this section. In order to progress with this, I've got to make good on some of it somehow. Where I've pulled off the walkway that was here, and where this was the original door, I've got to repair that, and basically generally work out where I'm going to put windows and doors and things now, so I can continue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark out where I'm going to put the windows and doors and repair some of it, and then see where we go from there. Okay, I have now cut out, ready for the doors and windows all the way around. I've left this one loosely fitting just as a guide, and this is almost ready for putting the brick sheeting on this section only. The windows I'm using are the Wills Kits windows, so you get a nice selection of various sizes. So I'll be sticking those into these positions here. I've also decided to leave this open so you can actually see the gates in there. So I'm leaving that as an open feature for the main building. So the next thing I can do now, I can actually glue this straight onto this base now. Okay, I have now glued the colliery to the pit head now, and I've also painted the floor inside a concrete grey just in there. So the next part now is to brick around the outside to give me an idea of how to build this piece. So I shall make a start. Yeah, that was a little bit tricky to do. As you can see, I've added the brick all the way around the outside until we get to this point here. So it's bang in line with the window, because I'm going to have to make this building here from scratch. It was quite tricky to do, like I said, because the building itself, it's not square, but I think I've made a reasonably good job of it. So I shall persevere with making the building that goes on here now. I'll do some measurements and we'll get back to you. Okay, I've done some measuring and I've cut and profiled the extension that's going to go on this base here. I've actually turned it into a 3-story building for offices, maybe a engine house and other bits and pieces. And it's going to change what I had in mind originally just by adding this here, as you can see. I've still got windows to add in, so I'll concentrate on making this but not gluing it to the main building yet until I have worked out how I'm going to put the wiring in for the LEDs, as that is going to be very tricky because it's such a complex building inside, as you know. Inside I've still got a lot of work to do. I've got to weather the concrete that I've painted in there and build the building at least up to the same level as this on the inside, half of it anyway, and then do some sort of conveyor belt system for dropping the coal through those hatches on the bottom there. I've added a new floor. This is a new floor in here, just to bring the floor level with the wall, because remember I cut out the wall previously, so I just wanted that all nice and flush and level. Maybe make a couple of hoppers to go on there with a couple of bits of card. It seems daft doing all this detail, as it's going to be covered and you're never going to see it, but once the internals is lit up you'll see some of the detail, but maybe not all of it, so it is worth thinking about. Right, what I'm doing with the windows is I'm just holding it in place where I want it and just using a scalpel and just putting a pre-cut around the window so I get an exact fit. To move the window out of the way, I can actually see where I've put the lines in ready, so I'll just cut that out and the window will just drop in nicely. Just being very delicate so that I don't slip. And there you go, it makes a nice neat fit. A little bit of glue between the frame and the brick walls and happy days. Right, as you can see all the windows have been cut out and they fit nice and snug and tight in there, so just like that. Although they're a little bit flush with the front, I'm not too worried about that. I just want to make the windows look as big as possible because it's supposed to be an industrial building. Okay, this area here I've decided is not going to be an office at all. This is going to be the plant room. So I've got some old locomotive bits, so I might be able to put something in there that might look like a generator of such. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to paint this floor grey, and then we'll have a look at that in a minute. Right, with the floor being painted, all I've done now is I've stuck a bit of white card to cover up the corrugated card that they used to build this building originally. And the window there should, in theory, when I put a bit of LED this side, should shine light through into the plant room. There will be a door here as well, but I'm not going to worry about too much detail in this area. So the next thing to do is to work out the floor levels, drill a hole in here to allow some cables to come through and fit an LED to one of the lower floors, not necessarily the plant room. So it's coming together, and shall see where we go from here. Need to work out the height for the floors. Okay, I found this exhaust valve gear off an old locomotive in my come in handy box, and once that's painted green, it looked like an old boiler, and that'll look quite neat in the plant room, I think. Yep. Right, the plant room has come along quite well. As you can see, I've added a door. It's a sliding door, so it just slides back, so you can go through into probably the main workshop or whatever it is, back through that. No, I don't know. I've added a electrical control panel, so that needs painting, and some additional buttons, maybe just a few dots of different colour paints. And as you can see, I've just got to paint the pipes now on this generator, come boiler, come whatever it is in the plant room. I'm just about ready now to add a floor in here, so we can glue this like so, and then we can start adding the windows to this section. It's coming along and should be finished shortly. Right, that's the plant room finished. I've stuck a figure in there. He's just making sure the generator's okay and working properly. It's come out quite well. I'm quite pleased with the way that's turned out. It's been a lot of effort just to get that to that stage. The window is permanently glued in now. Control panel's painted. So the next thing to do is to add this piece to the base of the plant room. I'm in the process of putting all the windows in. But I think that's all for this week. So I'm just going to pop it on the layout and see what it looks like. Yeah, it's looking quite good at the moment. I'm glad I got rid of the office that was there and decided to turn it into a plant room. Overall, it's come on quite a bit this weekend. Still a little bit more to do. I've still got the windows and the doors to put in on this part that's overhanging the tracks. This is not glued in yet, and there's all the internals to do. So we'll have to see how far we can get next week. Thanks again for watching, and catch you again next time. Bye.